The Awakening. In a world consumed by chaos, where cities lay in ruins and hope flickered like a dying ember, an unseen force stirred beneath the Arctic ice. Above ground, the skies were filled with the acrid smoke of destruction as alien ships unleashed their wrath upon humanity. The Nasset, a ruthless alien race, had descended upon Earth with one goal in mind: annihilation. Their death beams rained down, scorching cities to ash, vaporizing oceans, and leaving billions in their wake. From their command bridge aboard a colossal mothership, Fleet Lord Murloc observed with malevolent satisfaction as his forces executed their grim mission. Beneath this destruction lay a hidden sanctuary, a secret chamber buried deep beneath layers of ice. Here, 5,000 cryogenic pods hummed quietly, each housing the genetically enhanced human soldier, designed as humanity's last line of defense. These were not mere men. They were super soldiers, crafted from the best of human DNA and augmented with advanced alien technology. They were humanity's hope, kept in stasis until their time came to rise again. As alarms blared through the chamber, an automated voice echoed across the cold steel walls. Cryo Revival Protocol initiated. The pods began to crack open, releasing clouds of vapor that hung in the air like ghostly apparitions. One by one, the soldiers emerged from their frozen slumber, disoriented yet instinctively ready for combat. Among them was Darren Wilson, a hardened veteran whose cybernetic enhancements glinted under the stark lights of the chamber. Darren blinked against the brightness as he took in his surroundings, monitors flickering with images of devastation across Earth. His heart raced as he absorbed the sight of continents ablaze and oceans boiling under relentless bombardment. Rage surged through him. This was not just a battle for survival, but a fight for vengeance against those who sought to extinguish his species. Alpha Squad, rise and shine. He barked into his comms, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around him. It's time to show these alien bastards what it means to mess with humanity. His words ignited a spark among his comrades as they shook off their confusion and prepared for action. As Darren armed himself with a pulse rifle that hummed to life in his grip, he surveyed his fellow soldiers, each one a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. They were not just soldiers, they were avengers ready to reclaim their world from its oppressors. Listen up, Darren commanded as he gathered them around a central console displaying tactical maps and satellite feeds. The Nasset have taken our planet and slaughtered our people without mercy, but they made one mistake. They left us alive. Determination radiated from him as he pointed at red dots indicating enemy positions swarming across Earth's surface. We are Project Hercules, he continued passionately, the finest warriors humanity has ever created. Our mission is clear: strike back against these invaders, rescue any survivors we can find, and make them pay for what they've done. A roar of approval erupted from Alpha Squad as they pounded their fists against their chests, a primal battle cry echoing through the chamber that signified unity and resolve. They were ready to reclaim their home. Darren laid out their battle plan with precision. Alpha Squad would engage directly with enemy forces. Bravo Squad would sabotage infrastructure. Charlie Squad would locate civilians. Delta Squad would intercept enemy communications. Each soldier nodded in agreement, their expressions hardening with purpose. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the base, a warning that sent adrenaline coursing through Darren's veins. Incoming Nasset patrol detected. Estimated time of arrival: 2 minutes. He cursed under his breath. They had been found before they could make their move. This is our chance, he declared fiercely, rallying his squad into defensive positions around the entrance of their base. Let's give them a warm welcome. As heavy footfalls approached, Darren steadied himself behind barricades hastily erected from debris within the chamber. He could see heat signatures glowing red against the cold blue landscape outside, a patrol of hulking Nasset warriors armed to the teeth with advanced weaponry. Steady, he murmured into his comms as anticipation built within him like a coiled spring ready to unleash its fury. let them get in close. With a thunderous crash, the Nasat burst through the entrance, monstrous figures clad in thick armor that glinted ominously in the dim light. Their eyes glowed sickly yellow as they advanced into what they thought was an easy victory. "Open fire," Darren shouted as chaos erupted around him. The base exploded into a maelstrom of plasma fire as super soldiers unleashed hell upon their enemies. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air, finding their marks in Nasat armor, while screams filled Darren's ears, a symphony of vengeance that fueled his determination further. But even amidst this carnage, danger loomed large. Nasat warriors fought back fiercely with energy beams slicing through air like deadly whispers. Soldiers fell under fire, but quickly began to heal, augmented bodies mending wounds almost instantaneously thanks to advanced nanotechnology coursing through their veins. Darren ducked behind cover as laser blasts rained down around him. This was just an initial skirmish, but it was only a taste of what lay ahead in this war for survival. He could feel it deep within him. This was only the beginning. With each fallen enemy came renewed resolve among his squadmates. Together they moved like clockwork precision, fueled by rage and purpose. They flanked Nasat forces from all sides while dodging incoming fire until finally silence fell over what had once been a chaotic battlefield filled with screams and plasma fire. Breathing heavily but victorious, Darren surveyed the aftermath. Their first battle won, but far from over. They had sent a message today. Humanity would not go quietly into extinction, but would rise up against its oppressors with unyielding strength. As they regrouped amidst scattered debris and fallen foes, Darren knew that this was merely an opening act in what would become an epic struggle for survival, a struggle that would define humanity's legacy against those who sought its end. The war had begun. Humanity's frozen army had awakened, and they were ready to reclaim their world from those who dared to destroy it. The first strike. The air crackled with tension as Darren Wilson and his squad stood amidst the remnants of their first skirmish against the Nasat. The aftermath of their explosive welcome was a stark reminder of the battle ahead. Bodies lay scattered, both alien and human, while the faint smell of burnt ozone lingered in the air. Victory had been claimed, but it felt like a mere prelude to the storm that was about to unfold. Preparing for battle, Darren gathered his team in the command center, where holographic displays flickered with images of their fallen enemies. "We've made our mark," he said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. "But this is just the beginning. We need to gather intelligence on their movements and figure out what they're planning next." The squad nodded, their expressions a mix of determination and eagerness. Each soldier had been crafted for war, genetically enhanced and equipped with cutting-edge technology. They were humanity's last hope, and they knew it. "Bravo, squad," Darren continued, turning to a group of soldiers armed with explosives and heavy weaponry. "Your mission is to disrupt their supply lines. We need to hit them where it hurts." He pointed at a map displaying various Nasat installations across the globe. "Charlie Squad, you're on civilian rescue. We've picked up signals from survivors in the area. We can't leave them behind." His gaze shifted to Delta Squad, the tech experts who could manipulate any system they encountered. "And you guys will intercept their communications. We need to know what they're planning." With a final nod of agreement from his squad, Darren activated the base's systems to prepare for their next move. The screens illuminated with data streams and tactical maps as they began strategizing their next strike. Their first target was a Nasat command post located just outside what used to be Denver, Colorado. It was a hub for coordinating attacks and deploying troops across North America. If they could take it down, they would disrupt the enemy's operations significantly. As they prepped for departure, Darren felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. This was what he had been created for, to lead humanity's charge against its oppressors. He gathered his gear and exchanged glances with his teammates. Each one understood the stakes involved. "Let's move out," he ordered as they boarded their transport. a heavily armored vehicle designed for rapid deployment into hostile territories. Infiltrating enemy lines. The journey to Denver was tense but uneventful. As they approached the outskirts of the city, Darren could see evidence of destruction everywhere. Burnt-out buildings and abandoned vehicles littered the streets like forgotten memories. The once bustling metropolis now lay in ruins under Nasset occupation. Darren activated his helmet's visor, which enhanced his vision and provided real-time data on enemy movements. "We're close," he whispered into his comms as they neared the command post. "Stay sharp." As they disembarked from their vehicle, they moved silently through the shadows, using debris as cover while scanning for any signs of life or death around them. The eerie silence was punctuated only by distant sounds of alien chatter and machinery whirring. Suddenly, an alarm blared from within the command post, a warning that sent jolts of urgency through Darren's veins. "They know we're here. Move in," he shouted as they rushed toward the entrance, engaging the enemy. The moment they breached the door, chaos erupted inside. Nasset soldiers scrambled to respond to the intrusion, weapons drawn and eyes wide with surprise. Plasma fire erupted in all directions as Darren led his squad into battle. "Take cover," he yelled as energy beams zipped past him, sizzling through the air like angry hornets. He dove behind a console just as an explosion rocked the room, sending debris flying. Darren peered over his cover to assess the situation. Bravo Squad had already taken out 2 Nasset soldiers, while Charlie Squad worked quickly to secure any survivors trapped inside. "Push forward. We need intel," Darren commanded as he surged ahead, plasma rifle blazing in his hands. The fight was intense. Each soldier moved with precision and skill, honed through years of training and genetic enhancement. They flanked their enemies with coordinated strikes that left no room for retaliation, gathering intelligence. After what felt like an eternity of combat, silence fell over the command post once more, save for the crackling remains of destroyed equipment and fallen foes. Breathing heavily but victorious, Darren motioned for Delta Squad to begin searching through Nasset communication devices scattered around the room. "Find out what you can," he instructed them while scanning for any remaining threats. As Delta Squad worked diligently at their consoles, Darren took a moment to catch his breath and survey their surroundings. The command post had been a critical target. Now it lay in ruins, a testament to humanity's resilience against overwhelming odds. "Got something," one of Delta Squad members exclaimed suddenly, drawing everyone's attention. "What is it?" Darren asked eagerly as he approached. "It seems like there's a larger operation underway," he explained while pointing at lines of code scrolling across his screen. "The Nasset are planning another wave of attacks across multiple continents, coordinated strikes that could wipe out any remaining human resistance." Darren's heart sank at this revelation. Time was running out for humanity's survival. "We need to disrupt those plans immediately," he said firmly. "Prepare to transmit this information back to base." A narrow escape. Just as Delta Squad began relaying their findings back home, alarms blared again throughout the command post, this time louder and more urgent than before. "They're sending reinforcements," another soldier shouted as panic surged through them all. "Everyone grab what you can. We need to get out now," Darren ordered urgently as he scanned for any useful equipment among the wreckage. With weapons in hand and vital intelligence secured, Alpha Squad made their way back toward their transport vehicle, but not without encountering another wave of Nasset soldiers pouring into the command post from all sides. "Engage," Darren shouted as plasma fire erupted once more in a desperate bid for survival. The super soldiers fought fiercely against overwhelming odds. Every shot fired echoed with purpose. Their mission was clear: protect humanity at all costs. Regrouping. In a harrowing escape filled with explosions and chaos behind them, Alpha Squad finally reached their vehicle just as reinforcements closed in around them. With adrenaline pumping through their veins, they piled inside and slammed the doors shut just in time. "Go! Go! Go!" Darren yelled at their driver as they sped away from danger. plasma bolts ricocheting off their armored vehicle like angry hornets buzzing around them. As they put distance between themselves and imminent danger, Darren couldn't help but feel a mix of triumph and dread. The battle had been won today, but at what cost? They had uncovered crucial intelligence about an impending assault that could devastate humanity if not stopped soon enough. Once safely back at base, Darren gathered his squad around him once more, their faces weary but resolute after facing down death itself together. "We've won this round," he said firmly yet somberly, "but we have much more work ahead of us." With newfound resolve burning in their hearts like wildfire amidst despairing darkness, the super soldiers prepared themselves for whatever challenges lay ahead, because one thing was clear: humanity would not go down without a fight. They would rise again stronger than ever before against those who sought its end. The calm after the storm. As the dust settled from their intense battle at the Nasat command post, Darren Wilson and his squad regrouped in the command center of their hidden Arctic base. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of triumph and urgency. They had successfully disrupted a key enemy installation, but the war was far from over. The intelligence gathered from the Nasat communications hinted at a much larger threat looming on the horizon, a doomsday device capable of annihilating entire star systems. Darren stood at the center of the room, surrounded by his fellow super soldiers, each one a testament to humanity's resilience. "We've won a battle today," he began, his voice steady, "but we need to prepare for what lies ahead. The Nasat are not just here to conquer. They're planning something catastrophic. Gathering allies. The super soldiers had been designed for combat, but they were also leaders, strategists, and protectors. They understood that to take on the Nasat effectively, they needed more than just brute force. They needed allies. "We can't do this alone," Darren continued. "We need to find any remaining human survivors and organize them into a resistance." Charlie's squad, responsible for civilian rescue, nodded in agreement. "We've intercepted signals from pockets of survivors scattered across North America," one soldier reported. "They're hiding in underground bunkers and abandoned buildings, but they need our help." "Then let's make it our mission," Darren declared. "We'll split into teams and reach out to these survivors. We'll show them that humanity is still alive and fighting back." The search begins. With their mission defined, Alpha Squad prepared for their next operation. They would conduct reconnaissance missions to locate human survivors, while Bravo Squad focused on sabotaging Nasat supply lines. Delta Squad would continue intercepting enemy communications to gather crucial intel. As they moved out of the base, Darren felt a surge of hope mixed with anxiety. They were venturing into a world ravaged by war, where every corner could hide danger. But he also felt an undeniable sense of purpose. They were humanity's last hope. The journey through the desolate landscape was haunting. Once thriving cities were now ghost towns, their streets littered with debris and remnants of lives once lived. The sky hung heavy with ash, casting a gray pallor over everything below. "Stay alert," Darren instructed as they approached an abandoned shopping mall, rumored to be a shelter for survivors. A glimmer of hope. As Alpha Squad entered the mall, the silence was deafening. Broken glass crunched underfoot as they moved cautiously through the darkened corridors. Shadows danced along the walls, creating an eerie atmosphere that heightened their senses. "Over here," one soldier whispered urgently as he spotted movement in the shadows. Darren signaled for silence as they approached carefully. Peering around a corner, he saw a group of ragged survivors huddled together. Men, women, and children, fear etched on their faces. Their eyes widened in shock as they caught sight of the armored super soldiers. "Please, we mean you no harm," Darren called out gently, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. The group hesitated but slowly stepped forward, curiosity overcoming fear. You're not Nasat?" one woman asked incredulously. "No," Darren replied firmly. "We're here to help you." Building trust. After initial skepticism faded away, Darren and his squad began to earn the trust of the survivors. They shared stories of hope and resilience amidst despair, tales of battles fought and victories won against overwhelming odds. "We thought we were alone," an older man said with tears in his eyes. "We thought humanity was finished." Darren shook his head resolutely. "As long as we breathe, there is hope. Together we can fight back against these invaders." The survivors listened intently as Darren laid out their plan to form a resistance network that would unite scattered groups across North America. They would share resources, knowledge, and strength to stand against the Nasset threat. Organizing the resistance, with newfound determination among both super soldiers and survivors alike, plans began to take shape for organizing the resistance. They set up communication lines using salvage technology from fallen Nasset equipment while training civilians in basic combat skills. Darren took charge of training sessions, his experience as a Special Forces veteran proving invaluable as he taught them how to handle weapons and defend themselves against potential attacks. "Remember," he emphasized during one session, "the key is not just strength but strategy. Use your surroundings to your advantage." As days turned into weeks, hope began to blossom amid despair. The resistance grew stronger with each passing day as more survivors joined their ranks, each person bringing unique skills that contributed to their cause. A new threat. However, peace was fleeting. Intelligence reports from Delta Squad revealed troubling news. The Nasset were aware of their activities and were beginning to hunt down human survivors actively. Darren, one tech specialist, reported urgently during a briefing session, "We've intercepted communications indicating that Nasset patrols are closing in on our location." Darren's heart raced at this revelation. They had made progress but now faced imminent danger once again. "We need to move quickly," he said decisively. "Evacuate anyone who can't fight and prepare for an assault." The urgency in his voice galvanized everyone into action. Survivors quickly gathered essential supplies while super soldiers took up defensive positions around their makeshift camp. The battle for survival. As night fell over their encampment, tension hung thick in the air like an impending storm. Shadows loomed ominously outside as the sound of distant footsteps echoed through the darkness. "Stay sharp," Darren commanded as he led his squad into position near the perimeter. Suddenly, blaring alarms shattered the silence. The Nasset had arrived. "Engage," Darren shouted as plasma fire erupted all around them. The darkness illuminated by flashes of energy beams, cutting through the night like lightning strikes. The battle was fierce. Super soldiers fought valiantly alongside civilians who had trained hard under Darren's guidance. Each shot fired resonated with purpose, a desperate bid for survival against overwhelming odds. A turning point. Just when it seemed like defeat was imminent, something remarkable happened. A surge of courage ignited within every fighter present. They fought not just for survival but for each other, for humanity itself. Darren rallied his troops amidst chaos, his voice cutting through despair like a beacon of hope. "We are humanity. We will not be extinguished." With renewed vigor coursing through them all, they pushed back against their attackers, each soldier fighting tooth and nail for every inch gained until finally silence fell once more over what had been a battlefield moments before. Breathing heavily amidst debris scattered around them, Darren surveyed what remained. Many lives had been lost, but many more had been saved that day, their resolve unbroken even in adversity's face. A new dawn. As dawn broke over their camp, a new day symbolizing both loss and victory, the survivors gathered together alongside super soldiers who had fought bravely beside them through it all. "We did it," one survivor whispered in disbelief as tears streamed down her face, a mixture of grief for those lost yet gratitude for those still standing strong together, united against oppression. Darren nodded solemnly. This battle may have ended, but there were many more yet to come ahead, and they would face them together as one united front ready to reclaim their world from those who sought its end. With hope rekindled within hearts once dimmed by despair, the resistance stood ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, because now they knew, together, they could overcome anything, even extinction itself. We did it, one survivor whispered in disbelief as tears streamed down her face, a mixture of grief for those lost yet gratitude for those still standing strong together, united against oppression. Darren nodded solemnly. This battle may have ended, but there were many more yet to come ahead, and they would face them together as one united front ready to reclaim their world from those who sought its end. With hope rekindled within hearts once dimmed by despair, the resistance stood ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, because now they knew, together, they could overcome anything, even extinction itself. A new revelation. In the aftermath of their fierce battle against the NASAP patrol, Darren Wilson and his squad gathered in the command center, their faces illuminated by the glow of monitors displaying intercepted communications. The atmosphere was thick with tension as they processed the shocking information Delta's squad had uncovered about the NASA's plans. The mention of a doomsday device capable of annihilating entire star systems sent chills down their spines. Darren stood at the forefront, his jaw clenched as he absorbed the gravity of the situation. "We need to act quickly," he said, his voice steady yet urgent. "If the NASA are searching for this weapon, we cannot let them find it. We must locate it first." Planning the infiltration. The room buzzed with energy as Darren laid out a plan. "We'll split into 2 teams. Alpha Squad will focus on locating the doomsday device, while Bravo Squad will create diversions to draw attention away from our main objective." He pointed at a holographic map that displayed various NASAT installations across the globe. "Charlie Squad, your mission is to gather intel from any surviving human resistance groups. We need to know if they have any information about this weapon or its whereabouts." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Delta Squad, you'll be our eyes and ears. Hack into their communication systems and find out what you can about their search for the doomsday device." As his squad nodded in agreement, Darren felt a surge of determination. They were no longer just super soldiers. They were humanity's last hope against annihilation. The journey begins. With their mission defined, Alpha Squad prepared for departure. They boarded their transport vehicle, a rugged machine designed for high-speed travel across war-torn landscapes. As they set off toward their target, a heavily fortified NASAT research facility, Darren reviewed their strategy one last time. "Stay sharp," he reminded his team as they navigated through the desolate terrain. "This facility is crawling with NASAT soldiers and advanced security systems." The journey was fraught with danger. Remnants of human civilization lay scattered around them. Burnt-out cars and crumbling buildings served as reminders of what had been lost. But amidst this destruction lay a flicker of hope. They were fighting back. Breaching the facility. Upon arriving at the research facility, Darren surveyed the area from a concealed vantage point. The compound was surrounded by high walls and patrolled by armed NASAT guards. "We need to create a distraction," he whispered to his squad. Bravo Squad moved into position, ready to execute their diversionary tactics, while Alpha Squad prepared for infiltration. With a deafening explosion, Bravo Squad detonated explosives at a distant point, drawing attention away from Darren and his team. "Now," Darren shouted, as they sprinted toward the facility's entrance. They moved swiftly through shadows, utilizing every ounce of training and skill honed during their time in cryosleep. Inside, they navigated through dimly lit corridors filled with advanced technology and alien artifacts. The air was thick with tension as they approached a central chamber rumored to house the doomsday device. Discovering the device, as they entered the chamber, an eerie silence enveloped them. The walls were lined with strange machinery pulsating with energy, and at its center stood a massive structure, the doomsday device itself. It was an ominous sight, an intricate assembly of alien technology that radiated power. Darren's heart raced as he approached it cautiously. "This is it," he breathed, awe mixed with dread filling his voice. "We need to disable it before it can be activated." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility, a warning that sent adrenaline surging through Darren's veins. "We've been detected," he yelled over the chaos. "A race against time." With time running out, Darren quickly assessed the device's control panel. Alien symbols flickered across its surface like a foreign language waiting to be deciphered. "Can you hack into it?" he shouted to Delta Squad member Mia, who was already working on her portable console. "I'll try," she replied breathlessly as her fingers flew across the keyboard. "Keep working," Darren urged her while keeping watch at the door for any signs of incoming threats. The countdown begins. Mia's face was tense with concentration as she navigated through layers of alien security protocols. "I need just a few more seconds," she shouted amidst the chaos. Darren felt every second stretch into an eternity as he prepared for combat once more, his pulse rifle at the ready, while his squad braced themselves for what was sure to be an intense confrontation. Finally, Mia let out a triumphant shout. "I'm in. I've disabled their security systems." "Now what?" one soldier asked anxiously. "We need to overload it," Maya replied quickly. "If we can't destroy it completely, we can at least render it useless." Darren nodded firmly. There was no time to waste. "Let's do it." Overloading the device, Mia began typing furiously on her console as Darren and his squad set up defensive positions around her, ready to fend off any incoming threats while she worked her magic on the doomsday device. Come on," she muttered under her breath as she initiated sequences designed to destabilize its core. Outside, explosions continued to rock the facility as Bravo Squad fought valiantly against overwhelming odds, every blast resonating with determination and defiance against despair. Finally, Mia announced, "I've said it. It'll overload in 5 minutes." "Let's move," Darren shouted as they sprinted toward an exit, their hearts racing not just from exertion, but from anticipation of what lay ahead. The escape. As they raced through corridors filled with smoke and chaos, Darren could hear enemy soldiers closing in behind them, heavy footsteps pounding against metal floors like thunderous drums heralding doom. "Go, go, go," he yelled as they burst through an exit door into open air, only to be met by a wave of Nassat soldiers waiting outside. "Cover fire," Darren barked as plasma bolts erupted from their weapons, their enhanced reflexes allowing them to dodge incoming fire while returning shots with deadly accuracy. They fought fiercely against overwhelming odds. Every shot fired resonated with purpose, a desperate bid for survival against insurmountable challenges. A narrow escape. Just when it seemed like defeat was imminent, Bravo Squad arrived in full force, reinforcements charging into battle alongside Alpha Squad with renewed vigor. Together, they pushed back against their attackers until finally silence fell over what had been a battlefield moments before. Breathing heavily amidst debris scattered around them, Darren surveyed what remained. Many lives had been lost, but many more had been saved that day, their resolve unbroken even in adversity's face. As they regrouped amidst scattered debris and fallen foes, Darren knew that this was merely an opening act in what would become an epic struggle for survival, a struggle that would define humanity's legacy against those who sought its end. A new dawn. With dawn breaking over their camp, a new day symbolizing both loss and victory, the survivors gathered together alongside super soldiers who had fought bravely beside them through it all. "We did it," one survivor whispered in disbelief as tears streamed down her face, a mixture of grief for those lost yet gratitude for those still standing strong together united against oppression. Darren nodded solemnly. This battle may have ended, but there were many more yet to come ahead, and they would face them together as one united front ready to reclaim their world from those who sought its end. With hope rekindled within hearts once dimmed by despair, the resistance stood ready for whatever challenges lay ahead because now they knew. Together, they could overcome anything, even extinction itself.